Hi, welcome to tutorial number 3, Basic Elimination. Found this little comic strip, thought it was cute. Okay, so we've been looking at systems of equations. We've solved by graphing, we've solved by using substitution, and now we're going to use something that's called elimination. So it's something new. So let's look at the next page. I know that on your sheet you've got the steps, and there are steps to using elimination, and here they are. Step 1 is we have to make sure that both equations are arranged in standard form, and they are, right? 5x plus 3y equals 16, 4x minus 3y equals 2. They're both in ax plus by equals c, which is standard form, basically meaning that the x and y's are on one side of the equal sign and the number is on the other side. All right, so step 1 is done. Step 2, we call this method elimination because we are trying to eliminate either the x terms or the y terms. See if you can eliminate by adding or subtracting the equations. So what we're going to do looks a little bit weird, but we're going to take these equations, I'm going to swing them over this way, and we're going to add them. And I know that we've added numbers like, 4 plus 5 or 4x plus 5x, but we've never added two equations together. So it's definitely something new. So here's what we're going to do. 5x plus 4x is 9x. 3y plus negative 3y. If I put in my calculator 3 plus a negative 3, what would I get? I get 0. Another way to just look at this is 3y minus 3y. It's gone. I'm not going to put 0y. I'm just going to leave it blank. I'm going to bring down my equal. And then 16 plus 2 is 18. Then I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 9. And I'm going to get x equals 2. Now, we've learned when we solve a system that the answer is a coordinate point, right? There's an x part of the answer and a y part of the answer. So using elimination, we got to one part. And just like with substitution, we're going to plug our first answer back into either equation. When I see, I'm going to pick the first equation. When I see an x, I'm going to plug in a 2. And so I get 5. Instead of writing an x, I'm going to plug in a 2 with parentheses. And I'm going to go ahead and solve this for y. 5 times 2 is 10. And then it's just a two-step, right? We're going to subtract 10 from both sides. And we get that 3y is equal to 6. We divide both sides by 3. And we get y equals 2. So our final answer, putting the two together, is 2, 2. Now, if you were taking the test and you wanted to see if that worked, then you would go ahead, for both of them, you'd go ahead and plug a 2 in for x. That would give me a 10. You'd plug a 2 in for y. That would give me a 6. 10 plus 6 equals 16. That works. You do the same thing for the other equation, right? Plug in a 2 for x. That gives me an 8. Plug in a 2 for y. That gives me negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. That gives me a 2. So this answer, 2, 2, works for both equations. And that's what makes it the answer to our system of equations. All right, so this is just a technique, right? Because our whole goal when we're given two equations, when we're giving a system of equations, is to use the technique that works, either graphing, substitution, or in this case, elimination. So when I look at this, this one, it's in standard form, so step 1 is correct or done. Step 2 says we can either add or subtract. If I add, nothing's going to cancel out, right? If I add these two, I'll get 7x and I'll get 6y. Nothing's going to cancel out. So instead of adding, I'm going to go ahead and subtract. Now, the big deal with subtraction is we're going to have to remember with each term, we are subtracting. So I'm going to say 5x minus 2x is 3x. 3y minus 3y, that's right, it's gone. I'm not going to write anything. I'm going to bring down the equal, and I'm going to remember 8 minus 2 is 6. Kind of like this method, don't you? All right, so x is equal to 2, and then once again, we're going to go ahead and take that 2 and plug it in for x. I always pick the top equation just because it's there. Sometimes the second equation might look a little easier, and I'd pick that. So anyways, I'm going to pick the top equation. When I see x, I'm going to plug in that 2, and then I'm going to go ahead and solve for y. 5 times 2 is 10. Just a two-step from here, right? I'm going to subtract 10. I'm going to subtract 10. Oh, it's not pretty, is it? It's going to be y equals negative 2/3. It's okay to have that kind of answer where we have a fraction. It makes it a little bit harder. Ooh, let me see. I'm going to do different for a different color. It's going to make it a little harder to plug in but x would equal 2 and y would equal negative 2/3. And if we want to plug that in real quickly, that would give me, if I plug it into the first equation, that would give me a 10 minus a 2, that is 8, so it does work. All right, so this is pretty straightforward. When I'm looking at something like this third one, it's a little tricky because in the last two problems, we've been getting rid of our second term, right? But in this problem, which one are we going to get rid of? That's right, the x, because here's an x and here's an x. Now, if I add the two equations together, I'd end up with a 2x. So I don't want to add them together. I want to subtract. X minus x, gone, it's 0. Negative 2y minus negative 4y. If I put negative 2 minus a negative 4 in my calculator, what am I going to get? I'm going to get a 2y. And then 4 minus a negative 2. If I put that in my calculator, it's going to give me a 6. So I divide both sides by 2. I get y equals 3. I'm halfway done, right? I take that 3, I plug it into, let me change colors. I plug it into that first equation, or either equation. So I see a minus, I write a minus. I see a 2, I write a 2. I see a y, I'm going to plop in that 3. Now I'm going to do the math. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. So I'm going to rewrite it. Now I'm going to solve for x. I'm going to isolate x. I'm going to add 6 to both sides. So get x equals 10. Put it together. That means that my answer is 10 comma 3. Let's see if that's right. If I plug in 10 into the first equation, I get 10 minus, if I plug in 3 for y, I get 10 minus 6 is equal to 4, and that's true. That's the solution to the system of these two equations. Okay, so far so good. Let's look at what else we have. So in this one, oh no, step 1 is not done. This one, the first one, is definitely written in standard form. But this second one needs some work. Standard form means I have my x term first, then my y, then my equal sign, and then my plain number. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to add x to both sides. And I'm going to think about how I want to rewrite the left side. I don't want to rewrite it 2y plus x, because in standard form, my x term has to come first. So I'm going to rewrite 2y plus x as x plus 2y. Does that make sense? Let's stop just for a second and talk about baby math. If I said I had 4 plus 3, would that be the same thing as 3 plus 4? Sure, right? Both of them give me 7. So when I'm adding terms, it doesn't matter the order that I put them in, right? So I want to put them in this order because in standard form, x has to come first. All right, so finally, I got this second equation rewritten in standard form. So now I'm going to ignore this. Let me change colors. I'm going to bring down my original equation, 5x minus 2y equals 2. I'm going to put underneath it my equation that wasn't in standard form, but now it is. And now it's pretty clear. All I'm going to do is add, right? Because if I add, negative 2y and positive 2y are going to cancel out. So I'm going to go ahead and add. 5x plus x is 6x. Negative 2y plus 2y, those cancel out. 2 plus 10 is 12. If I divide both sides by 6, I get that x is 2. I'm halfway done, right? I'm going to go ahead and take that 2 and plug it in for x. I can use either equation. I'm going to use this first one. So I have 5, and I see my x. I'm going to plug in my answer of 2. And then I'm going to solve for y. 5 times 2 is 10. We've had a lot of 10s in this lesson, haven't we? We're going to bring down the minus 2y and the equals 2. We're going to go ahead and subtract 10 from both sides. It's just a two-step, right? We're going to end up with negative 2y equals 2 minus 10 is negative 8. Divide both sides by negative 2. And the final part of our answer, let's see, we haven't used black yet, is 2, 4. Remember that the solution to the system of equations is always a coordinate point. There's an x part of our answer and a y. So I'm going to go ahead and plug 2, 4 back into the first equation, make sure it works, right? 10 minus 8 is 2. That definitely works. 2 and 4 is our answer. All right, let's see if we have any more. Oh, we're done. Please have fun practicing, because practicing, when you learn something new, it's how our brain connects neurons and I don't know, there's all sorts of words that I'm forgetting right now, but really our brain needs practice to retain anything new that it learns. So please have fun with practice, and thanks for joining me.